Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is just after 5 o'clock, 7 minutes past 5. Many of you joining us in your automobiles, just getting off work, turning on your radios. We thank each and every one of you for being there. I wish I had better news. If you've been away from the news cycle for the last several hours, we've got some catching up to do. There's been breaking news this afternoon out of Utah. We've got many of you on the telephones, and we'll get to your calls momentarily. I am told that there is a press conference that is coming at some point this afternoon, evening, and we will cover that for you live as soon as we get it. There are a lot of different aspects of a breaking news story that we broke earlier today during the Chad Benson Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And that is that Charlie Kirk, political commentator, founder of Turning Point USA, a friend of conservatives and really Americans everywhere, and certainly an ally of the President of the United States of America, was shot and assassinated earlier today in Utah at the campus of Utah Valley University. The assailant, the suspect, is not in custody. There is still a search, a manhunt ongoing as to finding the identity of the individual and bringing that person or persons into custody. There are a number of online videos showing someone or something on top of one of the campus buildings. I'm aware of those videos, several of you sending those to me. We're aware of those videos, and there's some concern that perhaps this individual was on top of a building, and obviously one way or the other, the search is ongoing. And the situation remains fluid. Charlie Kirk was 31 years of age. He leaves behind a wife and 2 children, his wife, Erica, and his 2 young children. And obviously, I don't know what you do with that. But I will say this. There are a lot of emotions going on right now in the United States of America, a lot of questions about where we go from here. I pray that we do not fall into the trap of returning violence with violence, although I understand the emotions of that right now. And I'm not dismissing any of those emotions. And I'm here to talk about some of that. Sadly, we cannot even agree at a time of grief. I'll share this with you. Earlier today, and there's some silence involved in this, but if you're watching on Super Talk TV, you can see some of the silence filled. This was the scene earlier today with Speaker of the House Mike Johnson taking to the podium in the House of Representatives.
The chair would ask that all members present in the chamber and those in the gallery please rise for a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family.
And it starts out as a somber prayer. And you'll hear silence for the first portion of it.
What purpose does the gentlelady from Colorado rise? Let's wait a minute. The House will be in order. The House will be in order.
Yeah, it sounds like she said something nasty.
The House will be in order.
So there is the Democrats objected to a verbal prayer at the time that it sounded like someone was calling for a verbalized prayer for Charlie Kirk, and the Democrats began objecting to that. Even in this moment, we cannot agree to grieve what was clearly a political or a politically motivated assassination. You can pull that down now. I think thank you. Very good. And we did it. We managed to do that for the first time. This was a political assassination. There's no question in my mind. Obviously, it remains to be seen who the killer was and what the motivation was, but I see no other explanation than the obvious one, that this was an assassination designed to stop political speech, to stop what is the bedrock of the United States of America, and that is the free exchange of ideas. That's what Charlie Kirk was all about, as I said last hour. It's what he represented. And there can only be so much of the political rhetoric from one side on this with regard to existential threats and existential crises before some lunatic believes that they are acting in some self-interest or nationwide interest? These discussions have to be had. 615-737-9986. I want to thank all of my colleagues at Super Talk, to include Brian Wilson, who's been joining us from time to time this afternoon. Obviously, Ken Weaver's on top of this story as well. I've been in communication with Chris Hand. I'm feeling for Brother Hand right now. He knew Charlie Kirk. He was friends with Charlie Kirk, works at Turning Point USA, friends with so many of these folks that have been directly, dramatically impacted and affected. We've all been affected, but we're thinking about Chris Hand right now. Dan Mandis and I have been in communication as well, and we're all touched. This is a touchstone, folks. When political, I genuinely cannot tell you. Obviously, the assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life was dramatic, but it failed. Thank God. What are we talking about here?
But then it took an innocent man's life.
An innocent man's life. We're talking about, I'm just trying to put this into context. We're talking about Martin Luther King Jr., right? We're talking about Robert F. Kennedy in California. That's what we're talking about in terms of turning points in the United States of America. When you begin seeing individuals politically assassinated because of their points of view and because of their ability to initiate change in this country in a manner that obviously some people don't like, that's the type of thing we're talking about right now. Buck is next up. We're going to get to as many of you as we possibly can. You're the most important voices right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, Buck.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for taking my call. Man, this world is broken. It has been broken since the beginning of time. In the Old Testament, it started off with the actual sons of Adam and Eve. Cain slew Abel. They were killing each other back then. If you read the Old Testament, it's shocking. It's basically a killing field. It's horrible. And then you have this deal with the killing of Charlie Kirk. The young lady, I saw her, the video on her, and it was the most and Charlotte was the most horrible thing I've ever seen. I can't ever get that out of my mind. It was just pitiful. And as far as the left and the right, we're never, ever going to agree. Never. It's not going to happen. Satan roams the earth seeking those whom he can devour. And he's got a bunch of them. If you look in the Bible, there's a whole lot more going that way than to heaven. And all I can say is you need to live a humble and kind life, treat others the way you want to be treated, and know Jesus. We can't change this. The world's broken. It's never going to change. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you very much, Buck. Thank you. Gretchen is next. Hey, Gretchen.
Hi. My opinion might be a little bit different than some of the others that callers have given. Honestly, I'm pushing 50. I know who Charlie Kirk is. I didn't actively follow him. Knew that he was a conservative Christian, but I do have a son who's followed him, and it was really upset. And I really hope and pray that the opposite will happen as far as, you had mentioned that we don't want more violence. We don't want bloodshed in exchange for bloodshed. I really hope that this lights a fire. Like, for me, I want to know more about Charlie Kirk. I want to know his legacy. I want to know what truth he was speaking that made, and I agree with the previous caller. I believe that there's absolutely a spiritual component to this. What evil, why did they find it necessary to take him out? And I would really love for, instead of his voice being silenced, I really hope that this causes people like myself And, the younger generation that he really touched, I hope it causes us to rise up and really stand up for what's right. It's very easy to become complacent and go about living your life. And, myself, I've been guilty of that. I consider myself a conservative Christian, but as far as like being really vocal, honestly, I haven't been. And just seeing, I feel so hurt and just raw on the inside from seeing last night this beautiful Ukrainian innocent. It just reminds me of my children. Just slaughtered needlessly. And then my son texted me and let me know about Charlie Kirk, and texted a little later and said that he had passed. And then I get in the car and turn on talk radio, and I hear about yet another school shooting. And I'm sorry. It just hurts. And I just really hope that this is a turning point where, biblically it talks about, a younger generation rising up. And I really hope that these things are a catalyst towards that, towards a revival in our nation.
Amen, Gretchen. Hey, how many kids do you have?
I have 3. I've got 2 sons, 17 and 20 years old. My 20-year-old's a junior in college. 17-year-old's a senior. And then I've got a daughter who's a freshman. And it's just a different world for them.
It is. Hug them for me, okay?
I will do it.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like to have children nowadays. Some days I wish I could. Some days I wish, or I'm glad I don't. Because the world does seem to be a different place, doesn't it?
It's a blessing and a curse, brother.
I bet so. I mean, you want the best for your children, your grandchildren, and those that, I want that too. But I don't know the connection that comes with being a father or a mother. Dave and Josh and Greg and Doug, we also have a podium that has been set up in anticipation of a potential press conference that is expected later on to give us some form of additional information regarding what we believe happened at Utah Valley College, or University, I should say. We'll continue dissecting everything and taking your telephone calls this afternoon. It's the Matt Murphy Show. You're listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 25 minutes after 5 o'clock, directly back to your telephone calls as we absorb the news that political commentator, talk show host, and founder of Turning Point USA was assassinated earlier today. Charlie Kirk, assassinated at the age of 31 in Utah at a college campus there, attempting to engage in free speech, attempting to engage in a direct line of communication with people that he knows disagrees with him. He would get into the arena on a if not a daily basis, certainly a regular basis, and was willing to discuss anything and everything with people that agree with him, that disagree with him. And, I said something earlier to Nicholas, and I want to reiterate it now at 5:26. I know we're still absorbing this news, and even if you didn't know Charlie Kirk, you feel like you did. Obviously, he was well established from the age of, 18? I think he founded Turning Point USA when he was 18. So it feels like he's been on the political scene, even longer than he has. But, it's still at the early, tender age of 31. It's just a shock all the way around. We'll get back to your calls momentarily. Brian Wilson has been with us all afternoon, helping us out in regard of finding out news sources and finding out where news is. And Brian, what do you got?
Well, a person has been arrested, according to FBI Director Kash Patel. This is being reported by the Associated Press 1 minute ago. and that's all we really know. But the FBI director, according to the Associated Press, Kash Patel, has said that the person suspected in the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk is now in custody.
The press conference, I believe. Do you have it up, Jackson? I think
I got it. I got it if you need it.
Yeah, I think Jackson's got it in there. So, Jackson, let's go to the press conference right now. Thank you, Brian Wilson. Let's go to the presser right now.
Today at approximately 12:20 Mountain Standard Time, political influencer Charlie Kirk was shot in an event at the Utah Valley University. He was taken by private vehicle to Timpanogos Hospital, where he later passed. The Utah Department of Public Safety will be co-leading this criminal investigation to find this killer, along with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We are working in unison with the County Sheriff's Office, the local police department, and the University Police Department, all of which have been very cooperative and fully engaged in this process. Shortly after the shooting, we did have a suspect in custody, George Zinn, but he was released from custody after we identified that he did not match the shooting suspect and was not an accurate person of interest. However, he has been booked into the county jail by Utah Valley University Police Department for obstruction of justice. We do still have an active investigation for the person of interest. This incident occurred with a large crowd around. There was one shot fired and one victim. While the suspect is at large, we believe this was a targeted attack towards one individual. This is a tragic moment in our state and in our country. As we heal, we encourage everyone who is struggling with news of the incident to call 988, our state mental health crisis line. In addition to that, our partners with the FBI will also be discussing other ways we can communicate through the public for tips and other information. Thank you.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the FBI, we extend our sincerest condolences to the family and friends of Charlie Kirk. Our thoughts are also with the people who witnessed this traumatic event. We know that what you experienced was very difficult. Our thoughts are with you as well. As soon as we heard about the shooting, special agents and personnel from the Salt Lake field office responded immediately. We have full resources devoted to this investigation, including tactical, operational, investigative, and intelligence. To be clear, the FBI will fully support and co-lead this investigation alongside with our partners. We are working on setting up a digital media tip line, and as soon as it's established, we'll get that information out to everyone. I know there's a lot of questions. This is very much an active case, and this investigation is in its early stages. We are following all the leads and all the evidence. If anyone has any information, please report it to the FBI or local law enforcement. Thank you.
On behalf of President Tumenez, who we've been communicating with, and she's on her way back right now, I say that on behalf of Utah Valley University, we are shocked and saddened by the tragic passing of Charlie Kirk. We express our sincere condolences to the Kirk family. We grieve with our students, faculty, and staff who bore witness to this unspeakable tragedy. He was invited by the student group Turning Point USA to speak on our campus. We firmly believe that UVU is a place to share ideas and to debate openly and respectfully. Any attempt to infringe on those rights has no place here. We do not condone any form of violence at UVU and seek to make our campus a safe place for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this dark and tragic occasion. I want to thank our law enforcement officers who are leading this investigation, starting with Chief Long and his response here with the UVU Police Department. We're grateful for your leadership and your team. And again, to the speakers that you've just heard from who are co-leading this investigation. I also want to recognize Sheriff Mike Smith, who has been an invaluable partner as this investigation moves forward. I've been in touch with President Trump, with FBI Director Kash Patel, We are completely aligned with our state and federal partners as we work through this case. Now, this is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation. And I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination. We are celebrating 250 years of the founding of this great nation. That founding document, the Declaration of Independence, that this great experiment on which we embarked together 250 years ago, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. The first one of those is life. And today, a life was taken. Charlie Kirk was first and foremost a husband and a dad to two young children. He was also very much politically involved, and that's why he was here on campus. Charlie believed in the power of free speech and debate to shape ideas and to persuade people. Historically, our university campuses in this nation and here in the state of Utah have been the place where truth and ideas are formulated and debated. And that's what he does. He comes on college campuses and he debates. That is foundational to the formation of our country, to our most basic constitutional rights. And when someone takes the life of a person because of their ideas or their ideals, then that very constitutional foundation is threatened. Now, we have a person of interest in custody. The investigation is ongoing. But I want to make it crystal clear right now, to whoever did this, we will find you. We will try you. And we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law. And I just want to remind people that we still have the death penalty here in the state of Utah.
That's Governor Spencer Cox speaking right now, the Republican governor of Utah.
We've had political assassinations recently in Minnesota. We had an attempted assassination on the governor of Pennsylvania. And we had an attempted assassination on a presidential candidate and former president of the United States, and now current president of the United States. Nothing I say can unite us as a country. Nothing I can say right now can fix what is broken. Nothing I can say can bring back Charlie Kirk. Our hearts are broken. We mourn with his wife, his children, his family, his friends. We mourn as a nation. If anyone in the sound of my voice celebrated even a little bit at the news of this shooting, I would beg you to look in the mirror and to see if you can find a better angel in there somewhere. I don't care what his politics are. I care that he was an American. We desperately need our country. We desperately need leaders in our country. But more than the leaders, we just need every single person in this country to think about where we are and where we want to be. To ask ourselves, is this it? Is this what 250 years has wrought on us? I pray that that's not the case. I pray that those who hated what Charlie Kirk stood for will put down their social media and their pens and pray for his family,
Amen.
and that all of us will try to find a way to stop hating our fellow Americans. With that, we're happy to take a few questions.
The FBI director is posting that a suspect is in custody. I would just like clarification. Do you or do you not have a suspected shooter in custody?
We have a person of interest in custody that is being interviewed right now.
That is not George Zinn.
That is not George Zinn. That is correct.
Is there
Are
any
you still
indication
searching
of foreign
or
involvement?
looking for another shooter or anybody else related to this?
Yes, we are actively looking for anyone and everyone who has any possible information relating to the shooting.
Can you tell us details about the suspect being taken into custody? Where? How long ago?
We cannot at this point, but we will get you that information when we can.
Is there believed to be a second individual involved in the shooting?
At this point, there is no information that would lead us to believe that there is a second person involved.
Do we have
Can you guys talk
of the possible shooter?
Do you want to talk about what we know there? Yeah.
The only information we have on the suspect, the possible shooter, is taken from closed circuit TV here on campus. We do have that. We're analyzing it, but it is security camera footage, so you can kind of guess what the quality of that is. But we do know dressed in all dark clothing, but we don't have a much better description other than that.
Where do you believe the shot came from?
The shot came from here on campus, from a location at a potentially from a roof, yes. A longer distance shot from a roof.
So to clarify, with the security camera footage you have and the person of interest that's in custody, does that match up?
That's what we're trying to decipher right now.
So did FBI or DHS have anything on the threat board this morning?
I can't speak to that.
I'll just say that the investigation's ongoing, and as soon as we have further information, we will be sure to release it.
Any indications of foreign intelligence involvement?
As of now, I can't comment on any of that.
Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about the security of the event itself? Who was there security-wise and what happens on these kind of events?
Chief Long.
So my name is Jeff Long. I'm the police chief here at UVU, and I'll tell you right now, we're devastated. We're a small police department. We have a very large campus. We have over 40,000 students, and we love our students. We love our visitors, and we're devastated by what happened today. This is the police chief's nightmare. I'm very saddened for the Kirk family. I know his wife and parents found out about this. Obviously he's away from home. He's here in Utah. They find out by a police officer that visits their home. That's tragic. Nobody wants that. But I can tell you about our venue today. This was an open venue. This was outside. We did have 6 officers working that event. We had probably over 3,000 people that were in attendance. It sat down in kind of a bowl area here on the central campus. We have a waterfall area. And so he was kind of in a lower area. Surrounded by buildings. We had some plainclothes police officers that were in the crowd as well. We train for these things, and you think you have things covered, and these things, unfortunately, they happen. You try to get your bases covered, and unfortunately today we didn't. And because of that, we had this tragic incident. So we did have officers there. We had Charlie Kirk's team. He has a security team that travels with him, and they were here with him when he was shot.
Was the gun recovered?
I'm sorry, see?
Was the weapon recovered?
At this point, I can't disclose that.
When Charlie Kirk was shot, there was a question being asked about mass shooting. Was that person apprehended, and do you know who asked that question?
Say the question again. I don't know if I understand what you're saying.
When Charlie Kirk was shot, he was answering a question about mass shootings specifically. Was that person apprehended, and do you know who asked that question?
I do not. We do not have that at this moment.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, we have time for just one more question, so thank you.
Yeah.
Trying to put things together that don't belong together.
Was it your team or Kirk's team, or a combination of both, that kind of set the security protocol for the event?
So we work together. He has his team, and they do this all over the country. We all know that. This is not uncommon for them. They're very comfortable on campuses, and I was coordinating with his lead security guy, and we were working together.
Was this a sharpshooter type shot? Was this
Ladies and gentlemen, those are all the questions that will be answered today. Again, thank you for covering this. We will be updating you as soon as we have additional information through normal channels, working with law enforcement. Again, our deepest condolences to the Kirk family and to the students who were there today. I would just ask everyone everywhere to please pray for their family and to pray for our country. We need it now more than ever. Thank you.
And so that concludes the press conference. We were just hearing from officials, including Utah Governor Spencer Cox, as well as other assembled officials. I think there was one member of the FBI there, one individual from the local police, and then the campus police chief answering questions as best as they could about, one, an assailant in custody, or a person of interest, they referred to him as, in custody. Would not answer a question about whether or not the gun was recovered on the scene. I think that's going to be key at some point later on tonight, because I would suggest that means to me that they did recover a gun on campus, but that's just my speculation. So what am I doing right now? Am I pitching to am I going to Ken, or are we going to break? Going straight to break or going to Ken?
Ken.
All right, so Ken Weaver's got some traffic and got some other info from there. We're a little off kilter right now, so we wanted to carry that press conference in its entirety. It's 43 after the hour. Ken Weaver, what do you got?
Well, we're getting some crashes in addition to the usual stop and go on the way home. Right now in Madison, police say they're working a crash Gallatin Pike north, south of Cumberland. Then we've got Gallatin Pike south at Due West Avenue in Madison. In Belmont, Wedgwood Avenue at 8th Avenue. Now on I-40, we've got a crash that's popped up. Police working this. This is going to be 40 westbound at Briley Parkway. That's over there by the airport. And right now, you are still coming to complete stops at time if you're eastbound 440 in between 65 and 24. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, we're going to dissect the press conference in just a moment. Well, as a matter of fact, I want to get Brian Wilson in here for a couple of minutes before we go back to the telephones and get your thoughts and feelings on everything that's going on today. Brian, we just heard a preliminary report from Utah Governor Spencer Cox, amongst other assembled law enforcement officials. Your initial thoughts, sir?
Well, I had some thoughts about some of the questions. There were several questions. Do you believe there was somebody assisting the suspect? And they didn't knock that down. They didn't confirm it, but they didn't knock it down, and that caught my attention. I think the last question was a little weird, but what I think the person was asking was, at the time of the shooting, the question that had just been asked was about political shootings, and so the question was, who asked that question? Because I think that's something that the law enforcement authorities should be tracking down. Look, one of the things that I'm picking up and looking at all of the information that I'm looking at here on this story is that there was a real undercurrent here. There was a petition. There were people who were upset about it. I think that happens most everywhere he goes, but there really was this undercurrent, especially from the gay and lesbian community, about this appearance. Listen, we have a suspect. Experience teaches me that the story slows down a bit now.
Yes.
You won't get a lot more information until they have, concluded their interrogation of that individual, and that may take some time. But they're not searching the city, and that would be a major story. They have a suspect. They believe they have the person in custody, and I expect that the story will sort of slow down now. But what a tragic day. What a tragic day. Yeah. And I just keep thinking, 31 years old.
Well, the
guy
two
was
young children.
Brilliant at 31. I mean, when I was 31, I was a bonehead.
Me too. I'm still
and I
a
look at this guy and what he
right?
accomplished in 31 years, and it's astonishing. And he was so good at what he did. He was so respected. And again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. You can make an argument that he is responsible for President Trump's second term.
Yes.
because he was actively involved in getting young people. And as we've done the number crunching after the election, young people supported President Trump in much bigger numbers than they ever had in the past. And Charlie Kirk is responsible for that. He was changing hearts and minds on school campuses. And the Democrats looked at him as perhaps one of the most dangerous conservatives out there from their way of looking at it.
No, well said, Brian. All of that very well said. One quick question on the presser before I let you go.
Sure.
Because I trust your instincts on this. When the question was asked about the gun, and they did not answer, did you retrieve the gun from an area on campus? And they said, I'm not going to answer that at that time. That, I feel like if you have no weapon, you say, I have got no weapon. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I suspect they have a weapon.
Yeah.
I don't know where it was gotten. I will just tell you that the first thing they do before they come out and appear before the microphones is, let's not do anything that hurts any of our evidence. They have that conversation. Say what you want to say, but don't do anything that destroys. So they're not going to go into great detail because they're just it always is the case that the police are hinky about messing something up in their investigation that hurts the trial. And there will be a trial here. So, unlike some of our other shootings, there will be a trial in this particular case. So I think they're just the cops are a little hinky about saying anything that they feel like might be a problem down the line when they go to trial.
Thank you so much for everything this afternoon, Brian. I appreciate all of your reporting from your home base, and it was invaluable to us this afternoon. Thank you, brother. Mm-hmm. All right, we appreciate it. There's Brian Wilson from his home base. We're going to continue for another hour, get your telephone calls, your thoughts and feelings on it. We got news right now at the top of the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.